What's going on, guys? I appreciate you tuning into this video. In our last, you guys saw that our hive was in dire need of help. I ended up going down and speaking to my neighbor because he has 50 hives outside of his house. And he is actually the owner of Welsh Mountain Apiary. And he has bees from Pennsylvania to South Carolina. And he's actually gonna help me bring my bees back to life. I'm gonna be getting a new queen and some new brood, and I'm gonna take you guys along. I am with Lamar here from Welsh Mountain Apiaries. And can you just tell us how'd you get into bees and a little bit about your company?
Good afternoon, this is Lamar Wenger. We got into bees about 7 years ago, and my daughter came to me one evening and asked me if I'd consider getting bees for her birthday. She was 13 at the time, or actually 12 going on 13. And it kind of floored me. I wasn't expecting it. And so we went to a close friend of ours, went to visit him about an hour away, which is actually a few miles from here, and asked him what is all involved in taking care of bees. And I realized it's actually quite detailed. A lot of information that's needed in order to be successful. Anyway, the more I studied it, the more I got excited about it. We ended up, instead of buying a beehive for her birthday, we ended up as a family project. We got a beehive. We took that beehive through the winter. The next spring, it was a very strong colony. I split the colony into 3 colonies. I gave my 2 oldest daughters a gift of a beehive. We ended up having 3 hives, and that year we made 150 pounds of honey. Actually, 180 pounds of honey. Would have been 3 5-gallon buckets. And my brother had a dairy store near us, about 20 minutes away. And we sold some honey there. I loved marketing. And the next year we ended up with 12 colonies. And we produced around 500 pounds of honey. At that point I started moving colonies for different kinds of honey. And even from the very beginning I enjoyed separating different varieties of honey, different colors. And then I also studied out to see what kind of honey this actually is. What's it coming from? So we went after specific trees and plants, producing locust honey, tulip poplar honey, clover honey, basswood, mountain wildflower, which would be, in our case, would be a mix of goldenrod, knotweed, and aster honey. We get alfalfa honey, number of blackberry honey, number of different kinds of honey that we get from year to year depending on the kind of weather we have. Anyway, so it wasn't just producing a wildflower honey. I wanted different varieties of honey to give to my customers, so they can get the beauty and uniqueness of different varieties and how the different varieties taste.
Now, you have a website people can go to and check it out? Mm-hmm. I can leave that website down in the description. Now, one question I have, do you have the same genetics from that very first beehive that you currently have now, or have you like any company, you build up and bring new bees in? Have you always been kept splitting?
We have kept splitting colonies from our original colony that we had from the very beginning, and our bees have never died out. Okay, so we have been keeping bees ever since those 7 years ago, right, and building from my own colonies. So I'm not buying bees in. Okay, I'll clarify something though. The 3rd year we kept bees, or the 4th year, I decided to go commercial and make it a part-time business. So that year I bought 90 colonies from a close friend of mine and really expanded. Right. So I added my colonies that I had up until that point to the 90 new colonies. And after that, we quit buying bees, and I've been building from my own colonies. And today we are managing around 600 hives. We're planning to take it up to around between 15 to 1,700 hives this summer.
And this is a full-time business?
This is a full-time business.
That's amazing. Now, what do you think you guys are doing differently than maybe, like, because you hear how the honeybee is dying, it's collapsing everywhere. What do you think sets you guys apart? Because we were talking the other day, you lost, I think you said 3 hives last year. What do you think separating you guys from what you're hearing and what your research is showing you?
We lost 8% of our colonies last year over winter, and that's way below average. The average losses are somewhere between 30 to 60% and even 90 some places. It's not unusual for beekeepers to at least lose more than what they can replace. In our case, 2 things. I am very meticulous and on top of mites. I'm very, very careful with mite management. So we are constantly staying on top of monitoring and making sure our mite levels are low, especially as we come into winter. And I'm also, we're a wild forage beekeeping operation. And so if I'm not making honey at one location, I move my beehives to a new location. It takes a lot of work, but we don't leave hives at locations where we are making no honey at all. I want my bees to have good forage, and so they aren't scrounging on junk food. So we move our hives.
Keep them working.
That's right. We keep them working. We keep good sources of nectar at our bees for our bees all the time.
Gotcha. Well, hey, let's get this hive back alive, because I'm really disappointed. I mean, I'm very new at this, and I can't wait to learn. And like I said, guys, go look down at the description. I'm going to leave all of Lamar's information. It's Welsh Mountain Apiary. And, you know, we got a new keer, new queen, and some new brood, right?
That's right.
Let's bring this hive back to life.
And now you have a laying worker hive here. We're going to fix this. We fix laying worker hives all the time in our operation. Being as I make a lot of nukes, we're constantly dealing with laying worker hives because some colonies slip by and the queens are killed while mating, on mating flights.
Okay.
And so we may not always catch it on time, and we'll end up with laying workers. And we constantly are fixing them with, I have different methods that I do that with. One of these is simply putting a mini nuke into a hive like this. And that's what we're doing today. We're taking a fairly strong, not a full-size 5-frame nuke, but almost. There's brood on here. There's a lot of larvae. And you'll notice that the brood pattern here is slightly spotty. The main reason is when we brought these colonies up from South Carolina, we had 2.5 weeks of very cold weather, down in below freezing, and the queens quit laying for a short period of time, for about 10 to 14 days. And now they're kicking back up and laying again, and they're filling the brood frames back up again. And we're going to end up with a lot solider brood pattern, more like what you see here in the middle. This looks better, and this all is filled with brood. But I like to see solid frames with hardly any misses.
Like my frames, you could tell they were almost like bullets.
Yeah.
And that was all drones.
That's all drones.
Yeah.
I've seen laying queens that were only able to lay drones, drone layer queens. I've seen colonies like that, but this is definitely not. This is not a drone laying colony here. A drone laying queen. This is a laying worker hive. Now I'm splitting the colony that's here in half, putting half of the colony on one side of my nuke and half on the other to weaken it, and that way they don't kill my queen that I'm putting installing. I'm going to put the main brood nest together, and then there's 2 side frames of honey. I'm going to be sticking them into either side of the 2 heavy frames of brood, and then the old colony that was here is just simply going to merge right in to the new colony. The queen's pheromone is going to be stronger than the laying workers, and the colony is going to just merge right in.
Now, will eventually the queen, the
queen
worker
will move out as the worker brood hatches. The queen's going to move out, and she's going to begin to lay eggs in the rest of the frames.
Gotcha.
And you'll eventually have a colony that has 6-7 frames of brood on the bottom.
Okay. Now, what happens to the worker? The laying worker.
They'll quit laying.
They'll just quit laying because
see, what happens is you have young bees that are wanting to feed royal jelly. They have royal jelly in their system. They gotta feed it, and if a colony goes too long and they cannot feed that off, they're going to start laying eggs. Gotcha. And they're going to start feeding brood.
Okay.
So if you would have given this colony a frame of brood with eggs and larvae in it, they would have never turned a laying worker hive. They would again attempted to make a queen, but then your young bees, your nurse bees, would have started feeding that brood instead of starting to lay eggs.
Okay.
All you would have needed is 1 frame of brood about 2 weeks ago, and this colony would have been fixed.
Okay. So that's why it's important to be on top of it. How often do you check? How often do you check your hives out?
Nukes about every 2 weeks.
Okay.
My parent colony is about every 3.5 weeks. That way, if I would have accidentally killed a queen in my last check, I'm back there before my colony is a laying worker hive, and we can intervene and fix them before they turn into laying workers.
Now, when you do a check, what are you looking for? Everything, the queen?
I don't look for the queen. I always look for eggs.
Okay.
And I look for eggs that would be laid by a queen. There's a difference between the way a queen lays eggs and a laying worker colony.
Can you explain that real quick?
A laying worker colony often lays the eggs on the sides of the frame, on the sides of the cell wall,
Okay.
because she doesn't have a long enough abdomen to reach to the bottom of a worker bee cell.
All right.
So she'll lay them on the side of the wall, and she'll lay multiple eggs in one cell. And a worker, that's not saying a queen never does that when she's restricted in her laying area. Say in the spring a colony is small, she may sometimes lay a bunch of eggs in one cell, but a worker bee, a drone laying worker, like a worker bee that's laying eggs, will just fill the cells with multiple eggs. Another thing you're often going to find is a queen cell or two in the colony with multiple eggs laid in it. They can't make a queen, but they're going to try to.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are your two signs of a laying worker hive in the early terms, before they start making bullets, before they draw them out and cap them.
Now at my next check, I should look for the eggs, the good eggs.
All
just
you
like
want to find is a nice egg pattern. I like to see not just eggs. Now it's going to be spotty until you get a nice brood hatch.
Right.
But I like to see frames that are just filled with eggs.
Okay. Because I always thought you should find the queen.
You don't need to find the queen.
You don't need to find the queen. Because if there isn't a queen, if you're seeing the right egg pattern, they'll make a new queen.
That's right.
Gotcha.
If they need to make a queen, they will be able to make a queen. And in fact, I have a colony over here that's making a queen right now. It's very easy to tell.
Okay.
And I can also find the virgin queens before they're mated. I can tell what a virgin queen looks like compared to a laying queen. Very easy to detect the difference. So when I'm going through my colonies and a colony is queenless, if I find a queen that's not been mated yet, is a virgin queen, I can pick her out.
And that's all with education, studying, and knowing basically, this is your crop, this is your animal, and just knowing what you guys are doing with your homestead or farm or wherever you're at in life, where you're growing your own food. In this case, growing delicious honey.
That's right. When you have 6 frames full of bees, it's time to add another box.
6 frames full of bees, time to add another box.
And another thing that's important, when you have frames that are undrawn, in the case, here you have a frame that's undrawn.
Yep.
The best way to get a frame like this, to get the bees to draw out a frame like this, nice and faster than normal, is move it, as the colony builds and these frames in the middle are filled with honey and brood, move the frames out that are drawn.
Yep.
Switch frames around.
Okay.
And do what's called checkerboarding. Put frames into the center of the brood nest that are not drawn with brood on either side, and they will draw those frames out in a hurry. Okay. Much faster than if you just leave them on the sides.
Just leave it how it is.
And so what you're going to do is you're encouraging your colony to build up faster in preparation for the honey flow that's coming on in May. And that way your colony is stronger and you'll produce more honey.
All right.
And then when you add another box, you move one frame with brood in it up into the middle of the new box you just added, and you put an undrawn frame back into the brood nest, and they will draw that frame out, and you encourage your queen to move up here faster.
Okay. Okay, that's big to know. I'm obsessed about bees, even though last 3 years I've been awful at it. So I just love the idea of just raising honey, and I think it's so cool. So I mean,
we do mentoring for people who bought nukes from us.
Okay.
We have people. We make nukes. We sell nukes. My goal is to give high quality nukes that are going to be superior to the packages by head and shoulders of the packages. I'm not a package man at all.
It's all nukes.
It's nukes. So we'd be selling good strong 5-frame nukes, and then when I sell nukes to customers, I also give them instructions on how to take care of those bees, how to do mite management, and prepare them for winter.
I think that's one of the things that I fail at right now. And I'll totally admit that. I will totally admit that I am not a professional at bees. I've had bees this is my 3rd season, and this is the 3rd time I'm starting over. So, find local, quality product that the owner, and it doesn't just do it for the paycheck. He does it because he enjoys it and loves it and wants to see, just the product grow and grow and grow. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
All of our honey is raw and unfiltered, and we try to take our hives to mountain areas, mountain meadows, wild areas where they're not foraging GMO crops.
Yeah.
Our goal is to steer clear of that as much as possible.
Pesticides.
Yep.
I mean, man, that's really cool.
So, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your help. I'm glad. I mean, we're neighbors. We live probably less than a minute away from each other, and I've been there for 3 years. That's why it's important to know your neighbors, especially in the shutdown. You know, this is great. Like, I saw him working, and I stopped in, and here we go. We're here now. So it's such a blessing. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to get this home and just watch this grow.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be coming by. I really appreciate that. I just arrived home, and I gotta get my suit on. I absolutely find it amazing. Lamar was moving so smooth with the bees. I mean, you guys saw he didn't even have a suit on, and I was like just standing there, curled up a little bit. Last time I was there, I ended up getting stung 3 times, and I had to run down the road because the bees were just going in my hair. It was pretty funny. I wish I had the camera. But I didn't know, and it just turned out Lamar was there the first time working on his hives. And this is why it's important to know your neighbors. He lives 30 seconds down the road, and he owns an apiary. He's helping me out. I purchased a nuke from him, and he's actually welcomed me to text him and call him with any questions. And you know, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to learn bees and really learn bees, and not just read from a book. Yes, that's important, but hands-on learning, that's where it's at. Just brought my new hive over there, and now I got to feed sugar water. 1 cup sugar, 1 cup water, just like Lamar said. And I got 2 jars, and I actually got Juliana picking up some sugar right now because she's out delivering some chicken. Look at all these bees. I'm so excited. They're out and about, moving. A lot more action than it was 30 minutes ago. I tell you what, this is really exciting to see. Now it's my job. Lamar created this colony. You know, he built it, he split it. Now it's my job, the farmer, to raise it and to raise it properly. So I'm putting those jars, those mason jars, and that is the sugar, and I got them on top. Now I had that frame feeder that I can leave a link. Lamar actually recommended the jars, so that's what I'm gonna go with. All right, I am gonna be taking his advice this entire year. I mean, for the future. I mean, not just a year. So, because I want this to be successful. I mean, I think it would be awesome. Lamar's daughter started off with 1 hive, and now he has a full-time business. Imagine this whole area full of hives. I mean, that was my goal. That's my dream and vision, is to have a little apiary here myself. We got everything hooked up. I'm gonna put a cover on here. I'm gonna walk away, guys. This is really cool, really awesome to see. Look at that movement. It's so good. So good. So I really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. I am gonna end it. I have learned more in the past half an hour than I have in the past 3 years I've been doing bees. Welsh Mountain Apiary knows their stuff, and I really want you guys to check them out. Check their website out. And I mean, they sell honey, like you guys heard. They sell a lot of varieties of honey, different flowers, you know, blackberry honey, you know, just different. They don't just go for honey, they go for the best, and they're always moving their bees so they get the best. So guys, please, the description is down below. Check their website out and buy some products for them. You know, we are in a time right now where we need to help local businesses, and I am super pumped I was able to help them out. And guys, I really appreciate you tuning in, all right? If you guys like what you see, if you guys learned anything, let me know. I know I learned a ton. So please guys, hit that subscribe button and also give me a thumbs up if you like what you have watched today. And also don't be afraid to leave some comments, all right? And I will see you guys around.
Hit that subscribe button.